Hello, folks. It's Wednesday, January 17th. Want to give you a quick note. I sent the text message out this morning saying you need to have one of these. Finally got the kids out of the dentist, got home, and now it's time to kick one out. Housekeeping wise, I've got my caterer booked for March 1st here outside or in the big town of Maupin, Oregon. Please join us if you can. Invites will be going out probably towards the end of the month. If you're receiving this from me, then one of my subscribers, then you'll be getting a personal one in the mail. So, anyway, hope you can join us. It's usually a fun night. You can talk to some folks from different zip codes and hopefully have some good food. Well, complaints prior have been about the bar staff. Last year they decided to close the bar at 8 o'clock. We got done with dinner at 7:30, and the lady went through, last call. Everybody's like, what? Aren't we supposed to go sit around the fire and visit now for the next couple hours? I'm like, yeah, we are. And so just sure we won't have to deal with that. The main restaurant down there closed, which is unfortunate. The lady was pretty good. And so we're bringing a caterer in. And as far as the drinks go, we'll figure out something so you can stay up till 3 in the morning around the fire pit if you so choose. So, or you can be like me and go to bed at 10:30. But anyway, so markets are just extremely difficult. Probably the most difficult in my lifetime. I suppose it's still better than the early 2000s where wheat was $2 and 80 cents, and then it would drop down to $2.30, and you'd sign your LDP form, and then hope it bounced back to $2.70 and then sell it, right? It's a little better than that, but at that same time, we were spending 50 cents a gallon on diesel, and fertilizer was, dirt cheap, and labor was easy to find, and machinery wasn't, $500,000 for a piece of equipment. It was certainly an easier time. This time it's pretty cutthroat. Everything we use is going up, and everything we own is worthless. So it's just kind of silly. So the big things that I'm watching, there's a couple. One of my reports, I said my next sell window would probably open up mid-February or so. Just basing that on historical seasonal charts, basing that on the U.S. being the cheapest wheat in the world right now with soft white wheat and soft red wheat, and actually hard red winter oddly is down there among the cheapest in the world as well. South Korea is tendering today to buy feed wheat. We'll see what they actually buy. I would assume it's white wheat. It's got the freight advantage. Why would you not buy that unless there's just some cheap junk laying around somewhere? So what I'm watching close on the chart world is, I talked about the wave model a little bit, how we made the primary low in early December, and we bounced. We had a good 80, 90 cent bounce in the futures at least, cash not so much, and then we've backed off. And if we can manage to catch right in here, especially with Chicago, that's going to look like a head and shoulders bottom. That's going to signal the wave 3 up, which is what we hope. The good news, the kind of good news, is that we can at least see if that's the right move or not. If it is not the right move, and this thing makes new lows and exceeds the December 1st or early December low, then we've got to go through that whole base building process again. We've got to find the low, build it, start the wave 1 up, go through the wave 2, which is the most bearish time. I hope we don't have to do that, but we're only, I think we're 20 cents away from the primary low and 10 cents away from the low I'd like to see hold and make the head and shoulders look good. So if we go down, sorry, I got a cat hair on my lap. My kid's cat's sitting on my lap and got hair everywhere. Anyway, not supposed to shed till spring, but if we go back down there, I'm just going to wave the white flag on some bushels and liquidate some. And then the next, I'll just get any operating notes down, get the storage shut off, get money in the bank, hopefully earning interest if you can, or at least paying off interest-bearing accounts. and then or interest charging accounts. And I'm going to leave enough. I'll leave some back for that late spring window, April, May, June, and see where we're at. It's kind of funny. Last night couldn't sleep very good, so I booted up the U.S. Wheat Associates webpage and was scrolling through one of their big presentations they do on the WASDA reports. They're really good. I use a lot of those in my emails. And I was just looking at that, and I was scrolling through it, and they got a couple new graphs in there that I'll use in this week's report. And anyway, a couple of them just jump off the page. It's like, wow, we have no business being this cheap. There's just, if you compare either that or we had no business being, $10 a bushel there for a couple of years, one or the other. But there's no reason for us to be half of that right now, given that it's at least on their balance sheet, it's the most bullish supply and demand backdrop I've ever seen. I wasn't following and tracking those in 2007 as closely as I do now, and we still aren't down to that level yet, but we're close. We're second place. Even with the new modifications, we're still second place on stocks to use, and it's just worthless. I mean, the dollar is running around $1.03. It acts like it's $1.40, and it's not. So anyway, it's hard to say what's running this thing. I feel like we're apt to see some major currency problems throughout, the next 9-12 months. Of course, I've been expecting that a while, and I mean, I think we're starting to see some ingredients line up for that, but maybe that's it. Anyway, I mean, you got the Middle East on fire and crude oil can't rally. So that we're either headed to a world economic collapse or World War III, or maybe we're already in World War III. I don't know, but markets are not interested, right? Part of the good news I've got today is, with wheat the cheapest in the world, we should find business. If we don't find business here, I have no idea why we would not. France, people were getting on the Paris milling market saying it's down and depressed because it doesn't have the demand. And, lo and behold, Algeria bought 900K. Egypt bought a cargo today. So, I mean, almost 1 million metric tons sold in 2 days. You still got Jordan out there. I'm not sure what they bought. Their prices were up on their tender. So there's seekers looking for cheap wheat. I mean, I can't imagine them bypassing the U.S., Pacific Northwest especially, with hard red spring or soft white, because we've got the freight advantage. So why would you not grab that? We're far enough into this thing. Portland will be able to book April cargoes and May cargoes, and so far I'm not seeing it. So anyway, we'll see. Our world could change overnight. It really could. So that's why I'm not just going to, if we do puke down and start making new lows, I'm not going to sell everything. I'm just going to move up just where I have one more sale left for the end of the year or the end of the marketing year and just get caught up now. Because I'm just, fighting this thing, staying up at night. I feel just like you guys do. And gosh, again, I look at that supply and demand sheet and I think, man, that's exciting. I like it. But gosh, where's the excitement? This feels like, again, 2002, 2003. So what else? So yeah, the charts, like I say, let's watch that like a hawk. Let's watch, see if we do get that head and shoulders formation in Chicago. We need to bounce now if we're going to. Had hopes today was the start of it, but it kind of got pressured by everything else. The hard wheats have a little different count. That concerns me. They're trying to find their primary low, just like corn and soybeans, while wheat is, hopefully already charted. If that's the case, wheat may have to go down and drag us through the mud. I don't know. But hopefully wheat survived this last week. It was a tough week. We had to survive the first 28 hours without snow cover, and then we got quite a bit of snow after that. I think we'll be okay in this region. I think most of Oregon's probably okay. I think Idaho's mostly okay. Washington's got a big chunk of ground that was bare the whole time and had to deal with some pretty significant winds. I talked to a couple folks scattered around just to kind of get a gauge and check in on them, and it was not pretty. So we'll see this spring, right? So in my report coming up this week, I'm not gonna say it on here, but because someone doesn't know me, will look on here and find it and tell them it was my fault they did something. So I'll say it in my report, my weekly report. But I've got a recommendation on the ARC PLC thing, and that's going to be somewhat individual, be based on your county and how you line up in your county. But I've got that the closest guess I can get. Talk to some folks who know that industry and you know, kind of riding on their backpack there. So riding on their shoulders. So that's about all I know. I hope, like I say, hang in there. It's a miserable market situation, but it shouldn't last forever. And if it does last forever, I guess USDA is ridiculously wrong, and people aren't going to eat next year. So you've seen I don't know if you've probably seen the major protests in Europe breaking out from the farmers. They've had enough, and they're all starting to protest. So interesting times. So I'll catch you all later. Thank you.